elder statesmen and members of the Patriots are worried about the state of the nation, and they're warning about security situation and the conduct of politicians ahead of the crucial 2027 general elections. Candidates in the Ekiti State governorship election today have agreed to run the election of next month peacefully, and they signed a peace accord. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Akimale right here for you in Abuja. So much to talk about and bring you up to speed. We have so many stories that we need you to get in the heart of it tonight. But before we get talking, I'm going to take you through some of the major stories of the APC governorship primaries today that we're seeing in about over 20 states in Nigeria. And I'm going to be bringing you some highlights and some of the sound bites. And of course, there is a major judgment of court today. The Youth Party sued INEC, and the court's decision today is very fundamental, which I'd like you to also see what has happened. But before we get into all of that, let me serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
The federal government has reaffirmed its determination in tackling terrorism and insurgency in the country as it assures of commitments to the welfare of men and officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces. At the unveiling of a book on counterterrorism and counterinsurgency operations in northeast Nigeria, which was launched in Abuja, the Minister of Defense, the Chief of Defense Staff, and a representative of Vice President Kashim Shettima assured of ongoing efforts to strengthen security forces' capacity against insecurity.
The administration continues to provide strategic guidance and necessary support to the armed forces and other security agencies to effectively address the complex security challenges confronting our nation. This laudable effort reflects the enduring passion, patriotism, and unwavering commitment towards seeing Nigeria overcome the scourge of terrorism, insurgency in our dear country.
Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Waidi Shuaibu is asking commanders at all levels to translate deliberations from the Nigerian Army's first biannual conference into measurable operational outcomes as he harps on the need for professionalism. General Shuaibu, who gave the charge in Abuja at the close of the three-day conference, says the conference critically reviewed ongoing operations, training, and the evolving security environment, with emphasis on building a more adaptive, combat-ready, and technology-driven force.
I'm also pleased with the progress recorded in our transformative initiatives, particularly in areas of recruit training, advanced training, professional military education, and leadership development.
Dr. Danjuma Adamu Dabo has emerged as the People's Democratic Party senatorial candidate for Bauchi South ahead of the 2027 general elections. His emergence followed the affirmation of his candidacy by party members during the primaries, which was held on Wednesday. Dr. Dabo is one of the candidates who will contest for the Bauchi South Senate seat alongside Governor Bala Mohammed, who is expected to run under the platform of the Allied People's Movement in the 2027 elections. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, today launched a political movement hoping to leverage the population of young people in Nigeria to win the 2027 general elections. Speaking at the launch of a movement to mobilize voters ahead of the forthcoming general election, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, is asking young people to rise up and use their numbers to decide the outcome of the election.
Well, let's tell you that the Patriots are not very happy with the state of the nation. They have called on the federal government to urgently strengthen security measures across the country, expressing deep concern over the persistent killings, kidnappings, and displacement of communities by bandits in several parts of the country, particularly in the northeast, northwest, and north central, and most recently the southwest part of the country. The group lamented a growing number of internally displaced persons and warned that continued attacks on farming communities could worsen food insecurity nationwide. They describe insecurity as a national protection, governance, and economic survival crisis. The Patriots urged the federal government to establish a special committee to develop comprehensive strategies to tackle the situation. The group also raised concerns over the state of Nigeria's political system ahead of the 2027 elections, criticizing the lack of ideology-driven politics and frequent defections by elected officials, while calling on political parties to focus campaigns on issues affecting citizens rather than engaging in personal attacks. That's a judgment that came out of court today, which will have a fundamental impact on the coming elections. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has delivered a landmark judgment against the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, over timelines contained in its revised schedule for the 2027 general elections. In a suit filed by the Youth Party, Justice M. Umar ruled that INEC lacks the statutory powers to shorten or alter timelines already provided under the Electoral Act 2026 for party primaries, submission of candidates, withdrawal and replacements of candidates, as well as campaign periods. The court held that while INEC has powers to receive notices of party primaries and monitor the process, it cannot prescribe timelines that conflict with provisions of the Electoral Act. The judgment specifically declared that political parties retain the legal right to submit candidates not later than 120 days before an election and may substitute candidates up to 90 days before polls as stipulated by law. Justice Umar went further to rule that INEC cannot publish the final list of candidates earlier than the 60-day minimum period prescribed by the Electoral Act. Neither can it compel campaigns to end 2 days before elections through administrative guidelines inconsistent with the law. In a major consequence of the ruling, the court nullified portions of INEC's revised timetable and schedule of activities for the 2027 elections, declaring them inconsistent with the Electoral Act 2026. The legal minds are saying the judgment could significantly reshape preparations for the 2027 elections and some of the preparations before they defining the limits of INEC's regulatory powers over political parties. And so we've seen the All Progressives Congress, APC, conduct governorship primaries across several states of the Federation and in over 20 states in Nigeria today. Some of it went peacefully and some did not go as expected. Let me begin in Lagos State. In Lagos State, where we saw the Deputy Governor, Kadri Hamzat, who is also the consensus candidate for the party in the state, has commended the peaceful conduct of the APC governorship primaries across the state. The primaries, which was also attended by the governor, who commended equally the process, says that the turnout of his supporters and orderly process point to bright future for internal democracy.
Our party and the accreditation team that came from Abuja to witness the whole process. So as we can see, it was transparent, people queued up, so it was option A4. So we must thank everybody. As hot as it is, people stood up right here waiting to be counted. And at the end of the day, we saw the numbers.
Let me take you to River State, where it seems to have most of the dramatic turn of events that we saw a day before the election. We saw the sitting governor, Governor Siminalayi Fubara, who announced his withdrawal from the primary, from the process since yesterday's governor made these statement public yesterday. It was a statement personally signed by him last night saying he would respect whoever emerges as the party's candidate. And Mr. Tonya Cole has equally withdrawn from the party's governorship primary election. Cole announced his withdrawal in a statement also yesterday night, pledging support for whoever emerges as the APC candidate for the 2027 governorship election in the state. According to him, the decision followed a stakeholders meeting convened by the national leadership of the APC, where discussions focused on the future of the party in Rivers State and the need to maintain unity ahead of the 2027 general elections. Let me take you to Kwara State now, where the process has now been postponed. It was scheduled just like any other primary today by the APC for today, but the exercise has been shifted to tomorrow. The postponement was announced in an official notice issued by the State Publicity Secretary of the party, Abdul Wahib Babatunde, in Kwara State. Well, at the Zango ward in Okesuna area in Ilorin, members of the party trooped out en masse to partake in the primaries in electing who will become the party's candidate, although they were not aware that this might be postponed later. And the consensus candidate or the preferred candidate of the governor and the aspirant in the race, Ambassador Yaya Seriki, described the exercise as free and fair and thanked party members for the turnout, were urging other aspirants to support whoever emerges. The state chairman of the party says no one will be disenfranchised.
There's nothing I will say than to thank my people, the people of Kwara State. The turnout is massive, as you can see. Seriously, I'm short of words. This is free and fair. There is nothing to talk about here. No fights, no trouble, no problem, nothing. This is just true love from my people, from the people of Kwara State. I will thank them a lot because I know deep down inside me, we're going to move Kwara State together. We are working together.
But the situation in Bauchi State is that of a confusion, as we've seen growing rumors that the exercise might just have been postponed, although the party had yet to issue an official statement as of the time I entered into the studio, and journalists observed that no voting was taking place in most part of the areas designated for the exercise. At the party secretariat, security was tightened with heavy police presence stationed at the premises. Meanwhile, supporters of one of the aspirants, Nora Manu Soro, staged protests over the alleged imposition of candidates by some party leaders.
We are here demanding to see the members of the Electoral Committee that are sent to Bauchi to conduct the primary election for the governorship. And unfortunately, we did not see them. We are here to register our grievances, that we are in democracy. Democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Not a government of the people, by the people, for the few. If the few cannot determine the fate of the states, what we are demanding for is peaceful, free, and fair primary election.
Incumbent governor of Kaduna State, Governor Uba Sani, has emerged as the candidate of the party for the 2027 general election after polling 459,393 affirmation votes during the party's primary election. Governor Sani, who went into that primary election as a sole aspirant and received overwhelming support from party delegates and stakeholders from across the state. And the APC leaders described it as a strong endorsement of his and administration's leadership. From there to Zamfara State, where Governor Dauda Lawal equally is emerged as the candidate of the party for the 2027 elections. The governor emerged through a consensus arrangement adopted by the APC as the mode of his primary election in the state. And similar situation in Katsina State, where Governor Diko Rada has emerged as a flag bearer of the party for the election. It was an affirmation ceremony which took place at the Katsina People's Square, which saw over 2,800 delegates unanimously affirming Governor Rada's candidacy for a second-term bid, and what party leaders describe as a peaceful and transparent process. In Taraba State, Governor Abu Kevas has expressed optimism that he will emerge the winner in the primary elections without any contender. The governor stated this shortly during the governorship primaries in Nurul Islam Primary and Secondary School in Wukari local government area of the state. And in Gombe State, Mr. Jamilu Gwamna has emerged as the standard governorship flag bearer of the APC following the direct primaries that we saw and monitored earlier today. Yes, you can see Governor Agbu Kefas there with his voting card. Governor Unua will share the same word as Jamilu Gwamna queued up alongside other party faithful to vote in Gombe State. In their word, Jekadafari word to exercise their franchise, Governor Unua later described the process as a seamless one and one that the party has emphasized in the entire process. All right, then, let's take the conversation forward. There are a lot of concerns. There are those who are happy and there are those who are not. And the fresh concerns are emerging within the ruling APC following growing allegations of candidate imposition, internal exclusion, and dissatisfaction arising from recent party primaries across several states. Aggrieved aspirants and party stakeholders have accused influential blocs within the party of undermining internal democracy and manipulating consensus arrangement, raising fears of deepening cracks within the APC ahead of the 2027 general elections. The development has triggered renewed calls for reconciliation and transparent conflict resolution amid concerns that unresolved grievances and widening factional tensions could weaken the party cohesion and fuel possible defections in key political strongholds. And that those who believe that the party cannot go ahead into the elections with a fragmented house, especially with a swelling opposition force, mounting pressure on Bola Tinubu and the APC and threatening that they will throw them out of prominence in 2027. Let me speak with one of the party's chieftain and the chairman of the Presidential Initiative on CNG and electronic vehicles, Mr. Ismael Ahmed, who is live for us, who was a former leader of the party youth force. Thanks so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. There's a lot of disaster happening in your party owing to the conduct of... you said what?
I don't think they are disasters.
You don't think so?
No.
There are a lot of people are unhappy.
No. Unhappy, yes, but
those who are 2 weeks ago PDP member, all of a sudden they became APC member and they've taken over the structure of the party. In your party, a sitting governor is that, and you call that not a disaster?
It's not a disaster yet.
What would you call it? Imposition?
It's not a disaster. No.
A ceremony of throwing down the...
I know, Shehu, you like these punchlines.
But I'm just describing what it looks like in your party.
It is not a disaster.
How do you
It is not a disaster, but yes, I can understand if... I can understand the feeling of party members when people come in later and then they jump the queue and then they go right in front of the line and take up what people have fought so hard and for so long to put up. That is a very uncomfortable situation, but the party has its own mechanisms of trying to placate everyone. So it's not a disaster. What is happening is democracy in reality and in force.
The democracy in APC style, right? Is that
what do you mean by that?
Because if you say it's democracy...
So is direct primary is not what a lot of people have touted, what the 1993, annulled election to be the freest and fairest, was that not a result of direct primaries? Isn't that what we are copying today? Isn't that what we are doing here today?
Make us understand, Mr. Ahmed, how a former presidential aspirant of your party, a former deputy governor, a sitting senator got disqualified. And you said that that's democracy.
And who's that?
It's in River State.
A former gubernatorial candidate?
A former presidential aspirant who ran against President Bola Tinubu, screened by your party in the same system. A former deputy governor who is a sitting senator, Senator Epalibo Baniyo, has been disqualified by your party.
I don't know. I haven't seen the results of the disqualification or why he
Does it make sense to you?
No, hold on. You see, you can't take just things on a blank check like this. I don't know why he was disqualified. So I don't have the details of that. There could be so many reasons why a candidate or an aspirant.
I'm bringing to your mind what you describe as democracy in your party.
So democracy is not necessarily so disqualification of one person, which you clearly do not have the details.
There were 47 initially.
So you don't know the details of why they were disqualified.
46. So I'm trying to understand. It's like someone who has got.
I'm not supporting anyone being disqualified.
Just a moment, sir. I'm just imagining that as it is right now, for someone, you're a lawyer, you've had your first degree, you have a master's in law. All of a sudden, you want to have another master's in law, and you got disqualified. Does that make sense?
Well, it depends.
In the same process, someone ran as a presidential aspirant. In the same process, he's a sitting senator.
Let's not submit this to faulty assumptions that we are not sure of the details of what transpired. Let's not do that, okay? You know me very well, Sheon. You know I don't accept, I do not endorse, and I do not encourage injustice of whatever kind. And I take this politics very seriously. I was just telling some of my colleagues, on my way here, that there are so many people. The bar for entry to politics is so low that everybody just feels they can just get in and do whatever they want. And this is the pathway to leadership. And it's disheartening to me personally because I take this very seriously. I've committed the last 22 years of my life in this game, and I've grown in it. And this particular party, if it has any legitimate children, this APC, and I think I'm one of its legitimate child. So it worries me when I see things going awry, when I see things that ordinarily should be done better. But to talk of a particular people that have been disqualified from screening process, that we do not know what the criteria was, for that disqualification or the reasons for that disqualification, then, it would be unfair for us to comment on it.
So I'm just imagining when you describe, by mere looking at those videos, and you said democracy in action. There are those who say that's imposition. And I'm giving you the example of those.
I don't like imposition either.
Yeah, so.
If there was an imposition, I don't.
Yeah. So, and that's the reason why.
And I blame the National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly, I blame them for what is happening.
Today, right?
100%.
But I thought they had an agreement that most of them were going to return.
Agreement
About
with
70 of them in the Senate are not returning. The leadership of your party.
Well, they walked into that trap. How could they do that? How could they do that? How could they?
Vulnerable?
No. So you see, I used to say, there's something I say. I say the 9th National Assembly shot themselves in the foot by unwittingly removing themselves as delegates in primaries and congresses of the 2022 primaries and congresses and convention. But this 10th Assembly just shot themselves in the head.
How do you mean?
I didn't get it.
How do you mean?
Because the provisions of the Electoral Act, the way they did it, was strict. And then they were running away from giving powers to certain people, and they gave those powers to those certain people. I just couldn't understand why National Assembly would sit down and just basically write constitutions for political parties. Remove the option of means of producing candidates. So there was just so many things that I just didn't understand why they did that. And I thought that it takes a big political party, a huge political party like APC, for example, to be able to conduct, a direct primaries, and that is even for a political party as huge and as big, as large as APC, it would struggle because that's basically general election.
Yeah, how much
it's good because it tests your popularity with the grassroots, and your members show up in choosing their candidates. So theoretically, it is good for you to be able to march through that process. But the actual practicality of it is something that is very difficult. So the removal of indirect primaries was something I couldn't understand. Yeah. I really didn't understand.
And you think that there is an undoing for if those of them wouldn't find themselves back, is their own undoing?
No, I don't know why they did it. Actually, I don't. I don't want to make statements on why certain provisions were done. But I just thought that it could have been better done. Honestly, I just didn't understand.
I'd like to take you back to the conduct of the primaries. Governor Fubara, for example, didn't get a return. As a sitting governor.
He withdrew.
Yeah.
He said it's a personal decision. So let's take it as that.
Does that make sense to you?
No, that would be the first time I think a sitting governor or an incumbent, an incumbent will voluntarily withdraw from a contest within his own political party. But he said he's doing it for the sake of peace, so I will accept it as that.
Maybe it's the Inyendaba principle.
What does that mean?
Yeah, you do for me, I do for you, and the agreement is agreement principle.
If there was an agreement should be respected.
So you agree with Jensen Wike on that?
I don't know what Jensen Wike said. I don't pay attention. He's not a member of my party. I don't pay attention to what he says.
And it's concerning, and because I've had people speak on this program about the River State situation, and I those say some of what has happened in the APC will be its own undoing. The party has shot itself in the foot and is going to reap the fruit. The party is going to eat the fruit of its own poison.
People can say what they want in hope of certain things to happen, but I do know for a fact that right now structurally, and we felt that we are in a position to test our popularity with our members. We've registered a lot of members, and upwards of tens of millions of people who are members of the party. We thought that candidates should emerge through direct primaries. My only grounds with that is that should not be an option that should be limiting for all political parties. If APC can go ahead and do their own direct primaries, National Assembly shouldn't have any business basically writing constitution of political parties for political parties. It should allow every political party as an independent registered association to be able to determine how their candidates emerge, so that we can pick and choose how our candidates emerge. In 2022, in the last election, some parties did consensus. There was no, and some states did consensus. Some states had the direct primaries, like Lagos, but they lost through a direct primaries. Some other states had the indirect primaries. So candidates litigation reduces if there is indirect primaries, because the moment there is direct primaries, from my experience coming from CPC, what I have known, although we were an opposition party at that time, we were not in government, but the moment there's indirect primaries litigation, the possibility and the potentiality of litigation goes up significantly high, and at the end of the day, you end up having judges who have no business deciding for political parties who their candidates are, end up getting interfering with that. That was my concern. That is still my concern on the electoral act, but that's water under the bridge.
I'd like to ask you. I'd like to ask you and put you right on the spot here. From the inception of this party, you've been around, and you were tagged as the leader of the youth in the APC until you started growing grey.
Yes, I'm no longer youth. That has to be very important. I don't know why everywhere I'm being introduced, the first thing they say is the former national youth leader of the party. Yes, I was a youth. I'm no longer. I'm 46 now.
I mean,
I'm growing.
You are grown.
I'm 22 years in this business.
Absolutely. And I mean, for someone, and when the popular Bola Tinubu colloquium, you were probably the organizer. You are the heart of it. Sometimes you compare it.
I emceed about 2 or 3, probably so.
I mean, so you're prominent. A lot of people believe that you are a political son to President Bola Tinubu.
I am.
And a lot of people believe that you are a poster child in terms of the political youthfulness of the APC. And a lot of things about you. Now, you as Ismael Ahmed today, if you were gunning for a position and someone who joins your party 2 weeks after gets a ticket,
I would be very unhappy. I would be devastated. I would go to the president.
Would you say that democracy? If that happens to you,
so democracy can be interpreted in different ways, right? So I don't want us to take one brush,
because it's happened a lot of time.
No.
Ask Mr. Isa Pantami.
We can't take one brush.
He will tell you his story. Ask Isa Pantami, will tell you his story.
Let me give you a hypothesis, right? Since we're talking hypothetically, a hypothesis now, for example, if we agree that there should be an indirect primaries where delegates vote, and I, as a founding member of the party, is running, and somebody who joined last week or a month ago or a year ago or 2 years ago or even 10 years ago, still my junior in terms of the hierarchy in the party, And then comes with a lot of money, and then pay the delegates, party members or party leaders that I probably am instrumental in them being party leaders. It has happened so many times, and he emerges. I'm sure that somebody would still go to the media or shout, around town to say this is not democracy because it has been dollarized or it has been monetized, right? If you do the same thing through a consensus, and then leaders of the party sit down and say, you know what, because we believe Sheun, is ABC, he's from the south of Kwara, for example, and the south of Kwara have never had a governor since 1999, the Fourth Republic. And it's only fair, that everybody feels part of it. We have taken 24 years of this between Central and North. Maybe it's about time that we give it to Sheun, the south of Kwara. Objective reasons why they do that, but that is not democracy as well. At the end of the day, if you want to claim that it's not democracy. But if you look at it for value based on why that decision was taken, it could be an objective reason why that decision was taken. And it could be a reason for equity and trying to balance how power moves. But that is not democracy, because democracy at the end of the day is a popularity contest. Now, popularity contest does not necessarily all the time produce the better candidates or the most valuable candidates or the most balanced candidates. They may not necessarily do that. That's why sometimes there is intervention of party leaders or stakeholders that will look at it from the prism other than just popularity contest of who can speak better or who the people like more, and ability to do that. So there are so many other considerations and moving factors that come in to producing a candidate for a political party before you go into an election.
Your party is growing so big, and it's looking like a political party that you once criticized. Are you worried about that tendency?
Which political party was
criticized? This was the same manner in which the PDP was going at the time.
No, so I didn't criticize PDP because they were big.
And I'm not saying you.
Not because they were large. No,
I'm not saying you as a person. I'm saying your party as opposition.
But we never
criticized the PDP.
But we never criticized.
It lacked internal democracy. It was imploding, and all of the traces and the nuances that befell the PDP that made it crash is happening to your party right now.
So, like I said, let's not talk about something that we absolutely do not have the details of.
But
hold on, let me tell you
this. We see what is going on in your party.
I know you like one time. Just listen to me, But let me try to answer this, right? We never complained about the PDP because of how large it is or how domineering it was at some point. PDP controlled about 32 states at some point, and almost 2/3 of the National Assembly. But that was not our complaint at that time. Our complaint was on something else completely different. But let's come back to the issue of internal democracy or the ability to assuage people and make sure that you placate as much people as possible. If there is any case, even in my party, in APC today, where people were not given their value and their opportunity to express themselves and to be able to rise, within the political party, or they have been shortchanged using other means other than what, the party said it should be done. So that is an injustice, and it should not be condoned, and I will condemn it wherever I find it, regardless of who is involved in that.
I'm very certain that you have seen videos where the option A4 is what your party has adopted in its direct primaries, and people go 1, 2, 7, 10, 21, 32. The mathematics of the APC. I need to go back to school to understand how you count figures and votes in the APC.
So you see that I think it would be unfair for you, Sheun, to just say that is APC doing it.
But that was APC.
No.
That was officials of your party.
If people are doing that, if people are doing that on video, on camera, and that is submitted, and you can verify that counting was what was submitted to whatever committee that was sent to go and conduct that primaries, and that was the result that was announced, and then you can challenge it. Absolutely, that is absolute nonsense. Whoever does that on TV or wherever it is, and he has been saddled the responsibility as a member of committee to go and conduct primaries, and you insulted the intelligence of the people you are counting, and even us who are members of the party. with that nonsense, then the person should be punished.
With these growing complaints from aggrieved aspirants and members of your party across several states, how serious do you think this risk of defections and internal implosion within the APC would be ahead of 2027?
So I think there's an opportunity and there is a risk. The opportunity is that there is a lot of time between now and the general election. So the party has a lot of time to do a lot of reconciliation and placate a lot of people. But that has to be done genuinely and has to be pursued vigorously by the party with all sense of responsibility. The risk is if the party takes it arrogantly, that it can do whatever it wants to people because we are in power and because we are in control of so many states and so many elected officials in government, that would be a mistake, because at the end of the day, I've realized that most incumbents lose not necessarily because of the power of the adversary or the opponent, but because there is weakness and so many soft links internally. So if we do not take care of our internal issues in the next couple of few months, going forward to the general election, we will stand the risk of having problems in a lot of states and a lot of seats that we hold very comfortable today.
You know how bad things are right now in your party, that people are immediately thinking of leaving the party. And those who are saying, just a moment,
so naturally when people...
They might stay, but they will work against the party.
That's the danger. That's the dangerous one.
Yeah. And the biggest fear, and your party saw a lot of surprises in the last election. There are those who were working against the party, and we are also hearing that there are those who are in the background now working against your party. But President Bola Tinubu is facing rising opposition pressure amidst economic hardship and the criticism against his government's performance, issues of security. Do you believe this administration still retains sufficient political goodwill with Nigerians going into another election cycle? Meaning, I think if you go into an election today, can your party emerge a winner?
Yes, I think so.
Are you deceiving yourself?
No, I'm not.
Is that a fact?
Well, what do you mean is that a fact? I think that we will... Are you asking for my opinion or asking for a fact?
No, I'm giving you an example. If yours your opinion, I know it to be biased because you're a member of the APC.
Why? So what you should ask me, what am I basing my opinion on?
Yeah, but because the fact now, I know that as a politician, what would you say? You actually, you plow the land to
No,
yourself.
but Shehu, you know
Let
me.
me take you to
I have
Kano,
admitted where I believe that we have problems.
Let me take you to Kano, Ismael.
Okay.
You saw the outing of Kwan. Anytime Kwankwaso comes out.
Kwankwaso is a formidable politician.
Yeah.
In Kano, no one can deny that. I can't. Am I crazy to deny that?
And I'm happy that you are a core northerner. Yeah. You are in the heart of the northwest Nigeria, where you are the KKK states. And there are those of your leaders of your party who say, you dare not mention Tinubu in the north.
That's not true.
They will lynch you.
That's absolutely
They will
untrue.
stone you. In some part.
I'm just coming from Kano right now.
That's Kano.
I'm just coming from Kano right now.
In some part of the north. That was what they say. And it's from members of your party who say, look, we are too afraid to go and campaign openly for Bola Tinubu or APC. We can't even say APC in some part of the north.
No, I don't know where they are from. I don't know who you've been talking to. But I don't think that's entirely true. Absolutely not. I'm just coming from Kano right now to this studio. And the governor was just affirmed, you know. And if you look at the number of people that gathered at the Sani Abacha Stadium, I'm just coming from there right now. That's a lot of people. Who lynched them? Who stopped them? Who did anything? We just launched CNG and EV last week with the governor, and we took a drive for about 40 kilometers with him in an open, transparent car. I see a lot of people troop out to say, you know, to wave at the governor, to hail him, and to praise him. So what I'm saying is that if you are talking about Kwankwaso, in Kano, for example, Kwankwaso is a formidable politician. Any day, anytime. If anybody tells you otherwise, he's probably deceiving himself. I'm not one of those people that deceive themselves. But to tell you that people have, tell you that there are places that you can go to in the north and you cannot call Bola Ahmed Tinubu's name, I don't know who you've been talking to. I don't know where those places are. But certainly, if you are asking me, are there people who feel as if we would struggle much more than we did in 2023 in terms of convincing the people to vote for APC. Yeah, in some parts of the country, there will be that, because in some parts of the country, there will be people who are disappointed, naturally, if you're in government, and there will be people who are okay with what you're doing. So my position and my mantra has always been, let's move out, let's not take anything for granted, let's not leave any stone unturned, and let's move out and campaign for our candidate as if he is not in government. Or whether you are a governor or a president, in this case, this president and most of the governors that we have, let's not take anything for granted. I don't underestimate or underrate any opposition. I have never done that in politics. I think it will be stupid for anyone to conclude 6 months to election that the election is concluded. But I believe in my heart that if we go for an election today, we would win.
They say that they will make Bola Tinubu sweat this time around and APC will struggle.
No.
Just a moment,
No.
sir. Just a moment, sir. On the ballot, the last time you had Atiku, you have Bola Tinubu, you have Peter Obi, and you have Bola Tinubu and Peter Obi, and they shared amongst themselves less than 40 million votes. And this time around, you're having an Atiku who wants to be president, and Mechi equally, Seyi Makinde, Goodluck Jonathan, Peter Obi, and there are those who imagine, and if you look at the figures and the numbers, Atiku might get more because no other person is contending with him in the core part of the northeastern of Nigeria. Atiku is likely to take hold of the northeastern part of Nigeria. Peter Obi might sweep the south, the southeast, and part of this northeast, north central, and southwest. He showed your candidate and your party, Pepe, in Lagos the last time. And you have a Makinde in Oyo State. You have a Goodluck Jonathan coming out again in South. And those who will say, it is all over for your party in the South. There's no hope. If you cannot penetrate the North this time around, it's going to be a disaster. And Atiku is having it's going to have a few day, don't you think?
No, okay, so let me take it one by one. I don't know where you are getting this statistics from. I know that it's very easy for people to sit down and just make assumptions, but these assumptions are really not foundational assumptions. So people just assume that because Seyi Makinde was still governor of Oyo State when we won Oyo State in 2023.
But you worked with your party. He was one of the G5.
Oh,
he helped your party win.
Okay, fine, fair enough. But now, even if he does that, we're still going to win Oyo State. I believe that we're going to win Oyo State.
A younger candidate who is going to be campaigning on performance of 8 years, loved by his people, has won massively in the last two elections. So you don't think that Lagos is under threat, Oyo is under threat, Osun is under threat, Ogun is under threat? So let
me walk you through this. If you are looking at it from that perspective, I can easily say as well that structures win elections. They win elections.
Only that it failed your party in Lagos in 2023.
No. But we won.
That's where you had the biggest structure.
No. But we won the election.
You didn't. You lost the election.
No. We won. We lost Lagos.
We won in Lagos.
No, we lost.
And
Lagos.
that's where you had the biggest.
No, hold on.
Bola Tinubu's biggest structure is in Lagos. And I disagree with you on that point.
Missing, but
that principle failed your party last time.
APC's biggest structure is across the country.
No. At that time that you're talking about, when you say structure wins election, where's your biggest structure? Ismael, politically speaking?
Everywhere.
No, right now,
in 32 states right now.
But every politics is local.
Okay, Kano.
Yeah. If you lose...
Okay, you're talking about me personally?
Yes, you as a person.
Okay, Kano.
When I'm saying if you lost your ward, your polling unit, have you not failed as a politician?
No, I have not. If I win the general... The entirety, the goal is to win the election.
But does it make you look good if you lose your local election?
Do you want to look good or do you want to win elections? Do you want to take over the seat or do you want to look good? People have looked good.
How are you unpopular in your own locality and you say you are...
Oh, sometimes you can be very unpopular in your own locality and still win the general election.
But you told me now that...
Obasanjo lost in Ogun State in 1999. He became governor and he became president.
You have said to me tonight that structure wins election. I'm telling you that...
So hold on. So let's...
failed in the past.
So you see the problem is that you like punchlines. You try to deviate me. So you don't allow me to make my point.
When the point is not valid and factual, I try to.
Why would you conclude that my point is not valid?
When you say structure, and I say that structure has failed your party.
Why would you consider?
No, because if you say structure wins
how
election,
has it failed
and
my
I've given
party
you a
if
fact
we have
that
won the election?
Structure also fails.
Yeah, it can fail.
Yeah.
But it didn't fail us in 2023.
But they say in 2027, more failure might come your way.
So let me tell you this. So people are saying that because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from the South, and then there's a possibility of a Peter Obi, a Goodluck Jonathan, and a Sheyi Makinde. So there will be splits of the votes in the South. But that same argument can be made that those people who are contesting now will take away the same vote from the Peter Obi that he had. Because Peter Obi had 6.1 million votes in 2023. More than 4 million of those votes came from South-South and South-East largely, and some parts of South-West, Lagos in particular, and most of the middle belt, in northern part of Nigeria. Southern Kaduna, some parts of, he won some Plateau, Nasarawa, and a few other places, southern Adamawa. Now, that you can say can be also taken away by Jonathan if Jonathan is contesting, or from Sheyi Makinde would deny him that same win. What we are focusing on is that we have a pathway to victory, and that pathway to victory is what we are going to strengthen from the south all the way to the north, and we are going to strengthen them. We have a lot of people who are in our party right now. I agree with you that governors may have moved, but governors who are not politically in charge of their states may not deliver their states for you. Yes, I agree with that. But if we look at it, that's why I said I don't underestimate any opposition party or any opposition figure. What I do is I concentrate on what will get us over the finish line, and that's what we are concentrating on right now, and that's what we'll focus on right now.
Ismael Ahmed is the chairman of the Presidential Initiative on
And you didn't
CNG.
get to talk to me about CNG. You brought me here to talk to me about
politics. Come back next time and let's talk about CNG. Your party is in turmoil right now, and that's what we're dealing with.
You keep praying for that, but that's not what's happening.
It's not my prayer, it's what is happening. It's evidently happening that your
party... Well, let's see the other political parties do their primaries. At least we have done ours.
And we are monitoring that.
Yes, let's see them do this first.
All right. Thank you so much, my dear friend Ismael Ahmed. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much,
That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.